Hi there, and welcome to today's podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about 5 proven ways to automate your business in 2025. I'm going to walk you through 5 quick wins to get your time back and things done properly every single time by automating your common business processes. Now, I've been in business for about 20 years, but just a newbie to podcasting. So I'm going to be looking around and down at bits of paper so that I make sure I give you all the relevant information. So please forgive me for that, but away we go. Okay, so what I want to help you figure out today is what can you actually automate? And the biggest way of figuring that out is there's actually 2 indicators. One is there's business critical things that need to be done in the same way, the same time, same process every single time. And the other one is that you're doing the same things over and over again. The first one is if you're in a situation where maybe you've got a lot of compliance to worry about. So, for example, in my other business, we are very, very heavily regulated. We have to do things properly and we have to make sure that we're doing the right thing for clients every single time in the right way every single time. So what this means is it's great to automate it and put a process around it. For that sort of thing, we use a wonderful, wonderful workflow app called Process Street. And by the way, we're going to be talking a lot about how to automate through technology today. So we use Process Street to look at all of our workflows and to take care of all of our workflows. The reason we do this is because, as I mentioned, we're really, really heavily regulated. And so we need to make sure we've done everything correctly for our clients every single time. Otherwise, it's going to come back and bite us in the backside at some point, potentially. Or the worst one is if we've missed something, it might actually cause harm to our clients. And that's the last thing that we want. So by having a process like a workflow, and it's not to say that you have to use Process Street, we started using it years ago and it suits us down to the ground. It's not the cheapest workflow app out there, but I do think for what we need it for, it is one of, if not the best. You might find that you don't need to go to all that sort of, expense. You could start with just a Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document. And you might just go, okay, here are the 5 things that we need to figure out or that we need to have done by the end of this particular part of our process to know that everything has been done properly. So that would be my first one. So because it really helps us know, like with Process Street, we can go, okay, so Nikki needs to do steps 1 through 7, and then it needs to be handed over to Julie, and she needs to do steps 8 through 17, and then it needs to be reassigned back to Nikki. So for us, because we have a more complex workflow, that app works for us really, really well. As I say, that Process Street is not the only one out there. It's just the one that suits us the best. But if you've got something and it's step 1, record details, step 2, find what the client wants or do a discovery call, step 3, present your solution. Step 4, figure out the best product out of your range. Step 5, take the order. It could be something really, really straightforward like that. Or just a checklist to say, hey, have we sent an invoice? Have we received payment? Have we sent out the product? Has it been shipped if it's a physical product? Workflows just make things so easy and do also make it so that anyone can step in and take over that process and know what needs to be done. That's one of the really, really big parts of workflow automation in your business. So that would be the first one. Now, the second sign to automate that I see is if you're doing the same thing again and again and again. In fact, a mentor that I had several years ago, her basic rule was if you know you're going to do this thing more than twice, then automate it. Get a process in place for it. And she was absolutely right. Very, very clever lady. So as she said, if you know you're going to do this thing again and again, put a workflow, put a process, put a checklist in place to make sure that you don't have to rethink it, or that if you're handing it over to someone else, they don't have to stop and think every single time, have I done all the steps I needed to do? They've got this checklist and they can just go, I've done that one, I've done that one. Oh, haven't done that one yet. That's my next step. So that's one of the beauties of automating and having checklists and all that sort of thing. In terms of actually automating, what can you automate? A huge, huge amount. Now, for us, we are primarily a service-based business, and in our coaching business, I also have a lot of automations in software. So for us, we're a service-based business. So we have a lot of things that we can use software to automate. But if you've got an assembly line, it might be a little bit more intensive. You might need to be looking at machinery to automate certain parts of your process, but it's still doable. Then you need to start getting into the cost-benefit analysis. But if you are talking about automating things with software, very, very quickly, you're going to usually get a great return on investment unless you are spending an absolute fortune on bespoke software, which if you're a smaller business, I don't think you need to do that just yet. You can. It's a great vanity project, but you don't need to. There's lots and lots of software that's out there that can help you with automating your business at very, very minimal expenses. So my favorite tools for automation, now I've got 5 main ones. There are a lot of other ones, but I just want to give you, as I said, 5 proven ways, 5 quick wins to automate your business in 2025. So initially, I talked about giving you 5 proven ways to automate your business in this year. So let's do that. So there's 5 favorite tools that I have for automation. You might be surprised to find AI doesn't come into this list directly. Now, it's not to say that AI doesn't have a place. It's not to say that I don't use AI. But AI is developing so fast at the moment, I don't want to say, hey, use this AI app, and then by the time this podcast comes out, or it's been out for a couple of months, that thing doesn't exist anymore. So, as I say, doesn't mean that AI doesn't have its place, but also do be careful about AI. Assess it whether you need it in your business or not. Because what I've found with AI is that you might say, draft an email for me, and you might look at it and go, well, that's a good start. That's great. But if you're going to then spend as much time editing that draft as you would do to write the email yourself from scratch, it's not worth it. So stop and think. Just because everyone else is jumping on the AI bandwagon, don't do it because other people are doing it. Do it because it has a place in your business. Anyway, enough about AI. Back to my 5 favorite tools for automation. Number 1 is TextExpander. Now, this is an absolute low-tech, easy as product to put in, or software to put into your business and have it working from the get-go. TextExpander is like Microsoft QuickParts or Word QuickParts on steroids. It is absolutely amazing what it can do. It can do everything from auto-correcting misspelt words right through to letting you create a document. It can be a multi-page document with optional sections that you say, yes, I want that one. So you're going to tick that one to say, yes, include that. No, I don't want that one. You might have sections that you say, give me a gap here or give me a space here to fill in the details and personalize this thing that I'm doing. It can automatically insert dates, times, and automatically update them each time a document is created. It can insert hyperlinks. It's one of the tools that we use the most. It sends out this really cool little report every week, and usually we find that we've saved about 3 hours per person in the business just by using TextExpander because we use it for so many things. So check that one out. Thoroughly recommend it. Okay, my next favorite tool to help with automation has got to be Zapier. It doesn't mean that Zapier is less important than TextExpander. It's just the next one that's on my list. Zapier is a really cool piece of software, and when I first started using it years ago, it was just this thing that made this piece of software talk to this other piece of software when it didn't do it naturally by itself. So say, for example, you had an Excel spreadsheet here, and you had Calendly making bookings over here, and you wanted this spreadsheet to keep a track of these bookings. Easy way to do it is with Zapier, and that's one of the main things that we do with Zapier. Even now, we run lots and lots of tracking spreadsheets that Zapier takes care of all of the updating. So not only the putting it into the spreadsheet to start with, also keeping all those rows of data up to date as well. It's really, really cool. But since I started using Zapier years and years and years ago, they have added so much functionality. It's just amazing. They've got tables, they've got forms, there's about another 2 or 3 things that I'm not sure if they've actually released them out of beta testing or not, but there's lots and lots. And depending on when you're listening to this podcast, there's probably going to be even more because it's like they've got a snowball that's just gathering momentum of what they are releasing now. So check that out. So again, just taking it back to the really, really simple stuff. So let's say you've got a CRM, so customer relationship management tool, and you want someone like for us, we've got a telemarketer who cold calls people and books them into appointments. She's very nice about it, just in case anyone's a wee bit funny about telemarketers. She's very nice, and we work really closely together to make sure that if someone doesn't sound interested, she leaves them alone. So just to put everyone's mind at rest out there. So she will book an appointment for that person. When they say yes, they want to talk to me, she'll book that into Calendly. Zapier then does several things. So the first thing is, as I said before, it sends it into a spreadsheet to track what leads have come through, when are they happening, various other things as well that's relevant to our business. It also creates a new file for that client in our CRM, which is, we use Pipedrive. So it creates a new client, it creates a new deal, which is something within Pipedrive. It also, within our Dropbox account, it also creates a Dropbox folder for that person as well. Because we know if they go any stage through the process, we're going to have information that we need to store in there for them or about them. So automatically, on that Calendly appointment being made by someone that's not even sitting in my office at all, she makes that appointment. It automatically sends it into our lead tracker in Excel. It updates our CRM in 2 different places, at least. That's the thing with automation. Keep a track of this stuff when you do it. Otherwise, if something breaks, you're like, where is that coming from? Just a hint. So, yeah, it goes from the Calendly to Excel, to our CRM, and to Dropbox as well. We do not lift a finger, and it happens basically instantly. This is the sort of stuff that would take us, per client, probably between 10 to 15 minutes to do all those things if we needed to do that manually. Now, say, for example, you had 15 clients booked in every week for even 40 hours or 40 weeks of a year. You can imagine how much time we save in that one automation alone. It's phenomenal. Plus, the other thing is, because we're not doing that ourselves manually, we're not risking making spelling mistakes. And when you've got email addresses, spelling mistakes are really, really bad. So because it's done automatically, there's no problem with a email that's correct here being entered incorrectly over here, because it can't. So Zapier would be, again, one of the most important things that we use in my business. So we've talked already about Process Street, but I want to go into Process Street and workflow apps and software in general a wee bit more. So the beauty with Process Street and most of the commercially available workflow softwares is that you can also do lots of automations with them. So say you've got a 10-step process, and step 1 is you're recording the client details. So name, email, phone number. Guess what you can automate? The moment that Calendly booking is made, if you want to, you can get it to make a workflow run in something like Process Street. You then can get it automatically also to enter the name, address, phone number, and whatever else you need recorded. So it's done automatically without mistake. Then you've got a workflow that's been created. Okay, so you're going to go into there and you're going to say, okay, right, so we now need to look at moving this client through our sales process. Okay, we need to send them out some information. Guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be setting up Zapier to do that. Or if you are using Process Street, and by the way, if you look into their pricing, you'll see initially that it is one of the more expensive apps that I'm going to be recommending today. Look into their pricing further and maybe even reach out to them, because they do have a small business pricing point. It's just that they don't publicize it that much anymore, because they've kind of moved more into the bigger business and the enterprise size business. But they do still have that, as of the time of recording this podcast, they do still have that small business pricing available. You just might need to reach out to them about it. So you've had things entered automatically in this workflow. You maybe need to send them out an email. Well, guess what? You can also automate within Process Street. You can pre-write an email with variables that may be drawn bits and pieces from other areas. You can then attach any particular personalized information to that. So say, for example, you need to attach a quote to their email. Easy as. You then hit send and everything goes out. If you then need to, or say, for example, you need to get someone else in your business to maybe approve that email and that quote before it goes out, you can assign it to them in Process Street. They look at it, they reassign it back to you, you get a notification, and there we go. You can send off that email to them with the click of a button, and everything is done properly. So I won't labor on about Process Street, because it is one of my favorite apps that we use. And for us in my other business in a very highly regulated industry, that's the one that makes sure that we're doing things perfectly for every single client every single time, because we cannot close off that workflow until everything is done. So it's a fail-safe. As long as we're closing off the workflows, it's a fail-safe way of making sure that people have done everything they need to do, including me. I'm actually the biggest hold-up in a lot of that stuff. But anyway, so that's Process Street. So we're now up to number 4, and this has got to be Calendly. Again, these are not in any particular order. These are just the 5 that came to my mind that we use the most in my businesses. We use both of them in both businesses. So Calendly is an online booking system, and you've probably, if you haven't heard of it, you've probably used it to make an appointment with someone without even realizing it. It's a really, you know how you can get caught up in email threads, and all you're trying to do is to set an appointment with someone. You just want to have a phone call or a Zoom call with someone. And yet it's going to take you 2 weeks of back and forward because you're busy, you might not get to your emails for 2 or 3 days. by the time you get to that email that they've replied and said, hey, I'm available this time, you're not available then, and you've got to go back and say, hey, I'm really sorry, I'm not available then anymore. Can you give me another list of tips? Forget all of that. Just don't worry about it anymore. You send out a link and you say, hey, listen, this will show you, just click on this link. This is going to show you all the times that I am available. You choose the one that suits you best, pop your details in, hit submit. It's going to automatically book that appointment for us. If anyone needs to change it, there's a reschedule button. And if they change it, if your client changes it from their end, guess what? It's going to automatically update that booking in your system. You know that they've done that. You don't have to lift a finger. It's all done automatically. Something else that I have in my other business is I have a Calendly link in my electronic signature to say, hey, if you want to make an appointment to talk to me, just click on this link. It'll help you make a phone call appointment. So you can use it. You can either send it out. You can get people to send you their Calendly link if they're using Calendly. Or you can just use it as a passive, hey, here's how to make it easier to make an appointment with me. Depends on your industry as to whether people want to make appointments with you or not. But it's such a time saver. And you can set up a reminder system as well. So you can set it so that it'll send them out an email the day before, or an email an hour before, or a text message an hour before. It is so versatile. And it really, if you're in the business of talking to clients and having like cold outreach or booking discovery calls, that sort of thing, the rate of no-shows will go down amazingly if you use any or all of those reminder functions. So absolutely brilliant little bit of software there. So then we get on to number 5. This would be Pipedrive for us. So in my other business, we use a CRM called Pipedrive. Now, it is very much a salesperson's CRM. It's incredibly customizable, which is why I love it so much. Some of the other types of software out there for CRMs are things like Monday.com or Salesforce if you're a really big organization. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of CRM providers out there, but Pipedrive, if you're in sales, I would highly recommend having a look at Pipedrive because you can set up custom fields, you can set up automations, you can set up all sorts of amazing things. It's got a really good analytics dashboard as well. So if you run a sales team or you just want to monitor your own sales, you can set up that dashboard to monitor things in pretty much whatever way you want to. But anyway, the automation part is really, really, really cool. Depending on your level that you subscribe to will determine how much in the way of automation that you can do. That's actually a really, really good point that I do want to kind of just make sure that you keep in mind as well. While you can go crazy signing up for the highest level of subscription that something offers because it's got all the bells and whistles and it looks like it can do amazing stuff and your mind gets blown by what you are planning to do, I would encourage you just rein that in a little bit. Just keep that under control a bit. Start with a free tier, because what you want to do is you want to get, for a start, an idea of whether that software is actually going to be good for you or not. All of these softwares that I have mentioned have alternatives. I love TextExpander. I love Calendly. I love Zapier. But they all have alternatives. So Zapier has Integramat, or Make it's called now. TextExpander, there's lots. I've actually, every so often I see them and I'm like, oh no, I'm not using anything except TextExpander. But I know there's other ones out there, just don't know their names. Process Street, you can have an alternative to Process Street be as simple as an Excel or Google sheet. So don't feel that you need to go crazy signing up for the highest tier subscription that you can find. What you want to do, first of all, step 1, you want to find out, is this software right for me? Can I figure out how to use it? one thing that I'm noticing at the moment is there are some amazing, amazing softwares out there and apps and all, support and everything. And they're great. Bear in mind, I've been doing this automation stuff for probably 10, 15 years by this stage. I am coming across some of these software providers and I'm signing up and I'm getting going. And I don't know whether it's a recent thing or maybe I'm just so used to using the products that I've been using for so long. Maybe I've just been out of the loop. But to me, a lot of the software that's out there is absolutely phenomenal, and getting started, like actually going through their instruction, their virtual instruction manual, is giving me headaches of the highest degree, because I'm like, could you not just explain how to use your product really simply? Give me a 10-step process. Here's how I set your product up and start using it. To me, they are losing the ability to do that for their new subscribers. YouTube is your friend, obviously, but to me, if you go crazy and you sign up for, 4 or 5 or 6 new softwares and you're using them or you're subscribing at the highest tier, which is always going to be the most highly functioned and complicated one to use, you're pretty quickly going to get disillusioned, I can guarantee you. And you're pretty quickly going to go, she didn't know what she was talking about. Why did I ever listen to her? And you're going to quit, or you're going to cancel all your subscriptions to all of those, because it is going to be overwhelming in what you need to learn. So start simple. Start with the free tier or the lowest cost tier and get to know how to use that software. Then go, when you know, okay, I know what's in their next tier and now I understand how that applies to my business. Cool, now I can upgrade my subscription. And the other thing is that you might have also figured out how you can do it some other way, free, so, which is always better than paying someone to do stuff for you. So take it slowly. Just sign up to the free tier or the lowest tier subscription that you can. Get to know that really, really well. Apply it in your business and then upgrade. Don't go in boots and all. I've made that mistake. Learn from my mistakes. So I was talking about Pipedrive, I'm pretty sure. So in Pipedrive, you can set up a lot of automations. So as I said, it is a sales-focused CRM. One of the main things that we use, it's got a pipeline that you can set up. You can set up multiple pipelines. I think I probably have about 15 or 16. Each one of them has stages. One of them, our main pipeline, has probably about 22 stages, which isn't ideal. But the reason in a normal client journey, ours would probably look like this, for example. So step 1, client in. Client gets registered and a deal gets done and an activity gets done or gets set. So i.e. an appointment gets made. Next step in reality is we talk to that client. Then the next step is, and so we've talked, we've done a discovery call with that client. Next step is we come back, we do a recommendation to that client. They then go into a follow-up thing until that we find out what they want to do. If they don't want to go any further, we close that. If they do, they carry on in the pipeline. They do an application form. The application form comes out the other end. We present the result to the client and they either go ahead with it or not. So there's probably, let's say there's 10 steps. I've never actually counted. But as I say, this pipeline has about 22, because the really cool thing is that you can drag and drop and have automation set up on that drag and drop. So for example, if we have a discovery call set up, and they don't turn up, my next step, so you'll remember the actual steps for the client is discovery call to recommendation call. However, if they didn't turn up for their discovery call, so they didn't answer the phone when I called them at the time that we had set the appointment for, my next step in the pipeline is actually no-show. So if I then drag and drop to that next stage in the pipeline, it'll automatically email a client to say, hey, really sorry I missed you. Obviously something came up. When should we reschedule for? The only action I am doing is dragging and dropping. It is a pre-written email. It's got merge fields. So it'll go, hi, Nikki. I'm really sorry we missed each other the other day. So it's personalizing it. It's sending it automatically. I know what's in there. If I need to change the content of the email, I just do it in the template. Super easy. So that's the sort of automation that you can set up within Pipedrive. So depending on where you are in the world, they also have the ability to set up text messaging. I'm in New Zealand. We have call it a very unique text messaging system. And none of the automations that work in the rest of the world for sending out text messages automatically, none of them work here. So if anyone's listening to this and they know a solution, can you please reach out to me directly and let me know who it is that's doing that, because it's doing my head in. So that's the automation component of Pipedrive, which, as I say, is a sales-focused CRM. I would highly, highly recommend that. So those are, as I said at the start, I was going to give you 5 proven ways to automate your business this year. So hopefully you've seen that. So we've talked about TextExpander, we've talked about Zapier, we've talked about Process Street, we've talked about Calendly, and we've talked about Pipedrive. So hopefully through there, even if just one of those helps you, you'll find that you'll be able to start with it a little bit and build on that success and build on that success. And before you know it, you will be automating your business like a pro. So hopefully that's given you some great information as to where you might want to be able to automate your business. And as I said right at the start, think about 2 things that'll give you a really good plan of where to start automating. So first off, do you do the same thing in the same way time and time and time again? Or the second one is, do you do a thing that must be done the same way every single time for regulation or compliance or even just internal quality control? If you say yes to either of those, you have absolutely a great place to start with automation. Hopefully that has helped you a little bit. I would love to hear any comments or feedback. So if you'd like some help with automating or streamlining your business or getting through the bottlenecks, this is all part of our 12-week online group coaching course, our signature course for Stuck to Scaled. If you'd like to know more, please feel free to check it out at the website, www.stucktoscaled.com. Please feel free to reach out to me at hello@stucktoscaled.com if you've got any questions or thoughts. And if you want help getting automations set up in your business, this also is part of the 12-week coaching course. So every week for the 12 weeks, not only will you get a module that helps you to streamline your business, to look at how to get your absolute dream team running like clockwork, it will also have a module every week about what technology is best to use to automate that particular week's topic. So if that sounds like you, please go to our website, www.stucktoscaled.com, and check out the online course there. You can sign up for our newsletter. There's some free resources that we've got there around automation, and of course, lots more ideas of software. But also you can learn more and sign up for the next intake of our signature course, which will be happening within the next couple of months. Pop onto our website and find out. I hope that's been of some help today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next episode. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.